Hmm. Is it dark or what? Looks dark. Shalom. It's a little dark. What can I do? Maybe lighter. I have to move this dumpster. This is my little tripod stand. That's the thing. So what I could do is I'm gonna have to move that. I could move it over there and be in the light, but there's a lot of trash in there. So, but I'll find a different spot. Probably come next Sabbath or something. Shalom. Maybe can you change the settings to where you can make it lighter on the Facebook Live or no? Maybe I could do that. Cool. Shalom, everyone. Angel, Torah, Johnny. Shalom, shalom. Actually, could be in a short sleeve. It's not cold. It was like 46 this morning though, but it's been cold. Can't stand the bay. I do not like the bay. Maybe I'm spoiled because I lived in San Diego and we average like 72 degrees most of the time, most of the year. And maybe 4 days out of the year we'll get over the hundreds, but we don't hit no 30 degrees. That just don't even happen. You know what I'm saying? And then the 40s will be like maybe in the morning, and then it's back to like 60, whatever, throughout the day. We don't play this little garbage weather like in the bay. So praise the Almighty. While we give people time, shalom, Jason Enriquez. Praise the Almighty. Haven't seen you. Hopefully all is well. Got like 2 more minutes. Definitely thank the Almighty for today, for this week. On the way home, had anxiety. I don't really have anxiety, but my car was had white smoke, so I knew it was a radiator, some kind of radiator problem. So I popped the hood, and the upper hose was busted. Not at the clamps though. So I had some duct tape, and I had a little bit of electrical. Well, this is on the Sabbath. I already hit an hour and a half of traffic because I'm working up in San Francisco right now. So I had an hour and a half worth of traffic just to get back when it broke. So I'm like, man, on the Sabbath's hitting. I need to get food, gas, get ready for Sabbath. So I wrapped it up with duct tape, with electrical tape, and then poured the little extra I had. Made it to the shop, bought the hose. I didn't put the hose on because I didn't have time for the Sabbath, but I don't like rushing for the Sabbath. This job site, we get off a little bit later, and then the traffic coming from San Francisco is no joke. So I was like stressing, like I want to be able to make it, be ready for Zooms and whatnot before Sabbath hits. So praise the Almighty. Other than that, definitely thank the Almighty. Praise the Almighty for work, for family, for brothers and sisters coming to this gospel. Definitely thank the Almighty through Yeshua's name for just life, immune system. Thank you for all the saints out there that took a stance and didn't take no vaccination and standing for the gospel, because it seems like that, not that it's getting phased out, but it'll probably be something like you could get it at Walmart, kind of like the flu, where they give flu shots at Walmart or at the pharmacy and whatnot. Since it's not, we passed that mandate portion, or maybe the worst of the world already submitted. And so since they got 90% of the population, they did their job. Their job was just to make 90% of the population go ahead and submit to their rule. So now they don't have to come as hard on the 10%. I don't know, but it looks like in the States at least, we have a little bit more breathing room. So I thank the Almighty for that. Definitely thank the Almighty for the people that watch. Appreciate you guys. I want you guys to make it into the kingdom and keep serving the Most High. Oh, it's 35. It's time. I'm actually running late. Welcome to True Hebrews United of the Almighty Yeshua. Sorry for it being dark. I will find another spot. I'll move this trash can and find another spot to where I'll be light. That's my little holder for the tripod. Welcome to True Hebrews United and the Almighty Yeshua. This is your beloved holiness instructor, discipleship drill sergeant, about to get into the book as usual. Definitely give all honor to the Almighty, creator of all things, Yah, through his son Yeshua Mashiach, the only begotten of the Father. Definitely give double honor to the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the teachers, the elders, the bishops, the deacons across the whole planet, teaching this gospel, persuading people to repent from their sin, and getting people's hearts back to the Father. Definitely appreciate those ministers out there that's pushing the line. I am not the only one. I am Teacher Simon. I'm not the only one minister out there that's in the trenches trying to save souls. And the ones that I don't know and the few that I do, I actually don't even really know too many ministers out there. Maybe one, Minister Zach, and the other one that's not with us anymore. But praise the Almighty for all the ministers. Double honor to them. Give a shout out and love, appreciate all the people, brothers and sisters across the whole planet, keeping the Almighty's commandments, statutes, judgments, precepts, and ways. Also, all the people that share, like, subscribe, follow on the Facebook and the YouTube, that comment, that get these videos out there. Share these videos, please, because you never know what video might bring people to salvation. You never know. They may not be here serving the Most High now, but in a year from now, when their mom dies, or their car breaks down, or they're stressed out, or they're depressed, or this, they might have an open ear to hear why you have that joy, or why you have that peace. It says he puts them in perfect peace whose mind is stayed upon the Most High. And they might seek you and say, why are you so peaceful? Or you're going through what I'm going through, and how are you taking it so well? And that would be your opportunity to share that gospel and bring people to salvation. You never know. There was a time when I was out there in the streets drinking, smoking, chasing women. I didn't want to hear about the Most High, but there came a certain space and a certain window, and then the gospel came through, and hey, I'm serving the Almighty going on 16, 17 years now. So be patient. You never know when the light will click on. So with all that said and being done, today's a short service today, because we're behind big time on news. So with all that said being done, let's let the fingers do the walking and the scriptures do the talking. Praise the Almighty. Let's get this party started. Give me Revelations chapter 3. Revelations chapter 3. Listen to the book. I kind of miss my old congregation I went to, how I came to truth. Not my Pentecostal one, but before this minister, he turned false. How he held a standard and whatnot. Definitely wish there was more ministers out there that hold a standard I could fellowship with. That would be pretty cool. More congregations out there. Revelations chapter 3, verses 14. Let's get it. But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast let's find out which church he's talking about. We'll start at verse 12. Oh, matter of fact, no, we're right. I was reading 2:14. 3:14. And unto the angel of the church of Laodiceans write these things, saith the Amen, faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of the Most High. I know thy works, and I know thou art neither cold nor hot, and that thou wert cold, and I would that thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold or hot, I spew thee out of my mouth. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase in goods, and have no need of nothing, and not knowest that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. So I'm going to deal with this in a little bit. So he's talking, Yeshua is talking to a congregation, and it says, you're neither cold or hot. You're neither cold or hot. Now, these congregations, some of this stuff applies to us. We may not have the doctrine of the Nicolaitans. Some of us may or may not be cold or hot, but I believe a lot of people just getting baptized are trying to be baptized and get onto the Almighty's payroll. Some of them are cold and hot. And I'm not necessarily talking to True Hebrews United, because sometimes I preach messages, and they're like, he was talking to me. So you're going to know when I not say your name and I deal with a specific subject. You'll know when I'm headed down your alley. So, praise the Almighty. So, back to the subject. It says that we're neither cold or hot. And so, an example will be where... Wait, let's go to the next scripture. So, he's dealing with... He says, you're neither cold or hot, and I wish that you were cold or hot. And because you're not, you're lukewarm, I'm going to spew you out of my mouth. Let's get to the next scripture. Give me 1 Kings chapter 18. 1 Kings chapter 18. Just laying the foundation here real quick. 1 Kings chapter 18. We're going to start at verse 16. And so Abadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. He made a powerful prophet, right? And it came to pass then when Ahab saw Elijah, Ahab said unto him, art thou who troubleth Israel? And he answered and says, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, in that you have forsaken the commandments of the Most High. Thou hast followed Balaam. Now, therefore, send and gather me all of Israel unto the mount of Carmel, and the prophets all 450, and the prophets of the groves 400, which eat at Jezebel. So it says, send your false prophets and gather all Israel together. It says, I didn't trouble Israel. And it amazes me that you could do the Almighty's will, and people will look at you like an enemy, like you're dirt, like you're a dog. They'll look at you like you're trash, by you just living righteous. But let's keep going. So Ahab sent unto the children of Israel and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. Now check this out. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long halt you between two opinions? If the Lord be the Almighty, follow him. But if Baal, follow him. And the people answered him not a word. And that's the part I want to point out. They didn't answer him. And people are in the same state. If truth be told, it says, choose which one you're going to serve. People can't answer. They'll lie and say, I'm going to serve the Most High. But behind the scenes, they're still dipping, dabbing in sin. So they can't really answer who they're going to serve. They're too indecisive. A perfect example. A gentleman I've been trying to outreach to. We went to the gym and whatnot. And then I was like, yeah, I'll show him some stuff. It was a Hebrew. I ain't going to say a brother because he served the Almighty. And so he was watching IUICC or whatever. I don't know, some false congregation. But anyways, he was watching them. And so he got into the fringes and say, hey, we need to come with the fringes. I was like, hey, I really don't have no workout fringes, but I'll come with the fringes. You know, I have some fringe shirts. I have a couple of work shirts I wear fringed up when I go to work. So I say they're all dirty, you know, from construction. So I said, all right. So we come fringed up. He's like, yeah, man, you know, and he's super hyped. He's learning that he's a Hebrew. He's learning about his history because that's how they get him with the 12 tribe chart or whatever. They just pump him full of power. And yeah, you're a Hebrew and the Bible's to you and fringes and this and that and this and this and you're the Almighty and you're, you know, seed of Abraham. And they, you know, pump him up, but they don't pump him up with righteousness and true holiness. So he's all fired up for wearing fringes. So when I went to Belize the other time, he was like, hey, get me some fringes done. Yeah, I was like, I could get them sold up for cheap because they charge like 30, 40 bucks to get them fringed up in the Bay. The Bay's expensive. So even getting some church fringe will be like $30, plus the price of the fringes and the ribbon of blue, plus the price of the shirt. And if you want a nice shirt, it's like $25 for a nice shirt, plus $30 for a fringe. So it's not, man, you're rocking like $60 just for one shirt, unless it's like a normal tee. But so I get him some fringe shirts, and I come back, and I was like, hey man, what's up? He was like, yeah, I just got this job. I work graveyards. Got a second job. I work Friday night, and I get off at like 2 in the morning. I was like, that's the Sabbath, my man. And he, I didn't want to come condemning him or judging his behavior before I could get him to watch service or get him to fellowship. So I was like, hey, fringes, the whole reason why we wear fringes is because someone was picking up sticks on the Sabbath. I was like, so for us to get hyped up and wear fringes, but then you're going to find a job on the Sabbath, that's like opposite of what the Almighty wanted you to do. The fringes is a sub-commandment to remember you to keep the commandments, and it all started from someone picking up sticks on the Sabbath. Now, if someone wants me to make them fringes, I will make them fringes. If they're still celebrating Christmas, if they're still doing this, I would still do that, because they're still coming to the Most High. They're still coming to the truth. They're not baptized. They're not in the body. And fringes is the one thing that stuck to them. And if that's the doorway for them to come to holiness, no problem. But if you're going to be working on the Sabbath and you want me to make you fringes, no, because the whole thing was not working on the Sabbath. That's where fringes first started. And so I haven't told him my stance yet. But now I feel like he's distanced, because he knows, like, I said that. And now it's like, not that he's standoffish, but I could tell it's a barrier, because now it's like, you want to be serving the Most High and be fringed up, and you want to do this, but then you still want to dip and dab. And so you're neither hot or cold, because he was fired up, like, man, this and this. I was sending him information. He started working on the cussing. He said, man, I'm not going to get vaccination. I'm standing, this and this. And he started making this. But then when it came to push comes to shove, he still wants to be fringed up, or he still wants to fellowship. He still, and it's like, this is why you're going to get spewed out, because you're neither hot or cold. Because we have to go all the way, or we go all the way to the lake of fire. All the way for the Most High, or all the way to the lake of fire. And this is where people, especially Facebook people, are. Because they'll post all this Shabbat Shalom and this and that, and they'll post stuff like they're standing. But when it comes down to not smoking weed, when it comes down to not cussing, when it comes down to putting certain music, putting some movies, or putting some TV shows down, they don't want to stand. And so what happens? They become lukewarm. And mentally, they think that they're doing enough to make it into the kingdom. But then when they get spewed out, it's like, get out of here. Get out of here. This is why he says, I never knew ye that work iniquity. So he comes here, he says, why choose ye between two opinions? If the Almighty's, either serve the Almighty or serve Balaam. And they kept silent. Just like the dude I'm trying to witness. He's just kind of silent. He really, oh yeah, we'll go to the gym, or he's kind of like just stuck, because he doesn't want to give up the job to break the Sabbath, and he doesn't want to give up the money, but he still wants a fringe and wants the fellowship. So what can he really say to me? What can he really say? He just got to be silent. And that's the same thing. They just held their peace. Either you're going to serve the Almighty or you're going to serve Balaam. They didn't even answer. They're like, didn't even want to answer, because they didn't want to give up Baal, but they didn't want to give up the fact that, hey, if I don't serve the Almighty, hey, I might go to the lake of fire, or I might. So they know. And this is where I was going to get to. See, the people know what's required. This is why they stay silent, or this is why they stay in the same spot, is because they know what's required. Let's go ahead and give me the scripture, Luke chapter 12. Hopefully he watches this service. I don't think I think he watched one or something, but I'm hoping he gets it, because he knows if he came to truth, that extra money he's got to find someone else, some way else to make another income. I'm not knocking this hustle, because most people, they get content with one job and they live paycheck to paycheck. They don't try to get a better paying job, or they don't try to get a second job, and they wonder why 5 years later they're in the same spot as they were, because they don't want to apply. They just want to work one job and go home and be that good, and then you paycheck to paycheck until you die. Nah. So I commend any man out there that's on the grind, that uses that free time to increase their wealth, increase their standard of living. Luke chapter 12, verse 46. Let's get it. It says, and the Almighty of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not, in an hour when he is not aware, and cut him asunder, and he will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. And the servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. So an atheist and whatnot that didn't know the Holy Scriptures, right? For unto whom much is given, of whom shall much be required. Unto whom have committed much, of him they will ask the more. So they know what's required to go all the way. They are lukewarm because they're going right to the comfort zone. Like when you're in the gym. Let's say you're in the gym. Let's use this as an example. The people that have results work past the burn. The people that look the same, say they want to do 3 sets of 15, right? They're trying to get to 15. Right at 8, 9, and 10, it starts burning. Lactic acid starts building up. They put the weight down, and they feel that that's enough. The people that get the results, they get all the way to 15, and they fight through the burn, and this is what causes the muscle growth. So, when we see people are lukewarm, they'll give up Christmas. They might give up pork. Man, I got turkey, I got chicken, I got beef, I got fish, I got all these alternatives. I'll give up some pork. That's easy. I'll give up some Christmas. That's a little hard because you're family. I'll give up some Thanksgiving and give up some Halloween. Well, Halloween's kind of, yeah, that's just, they'll give up the easy stuff. They'll work on the cussing. But when it comes to something that really, like the money, maybe the Sabbath, or maybe these other things, right at the breaking point, right when the gains are when you're about to grow, right when the lactic acid of life, of you serving the Almighty, starts to play, it starts to take toll on your financial, starts to take toll on your marriage, because you're standing, and if I stand for this gospel, my marriage with my wife is over. If I stand for this gospel, my marriage with my husband is over. Right at that point, this is when they start to become lukewarm. Because right when the stress test gets on you, this is when they say, oh, okay, I'll just go this far with the Most High. I'll just go this far. This is my limit to the Most High. And that limit will not equate to salvation. So let's get the next scripture. Give me Romans chapter 12. 2 more scriptures and we're done. Romans chapter 12. Yeah, it's a little shorter. We're going to catch up on some news today. So Romans chapter 12. And we're going to start at verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto the Almighty, which is a reasonable service. So we have to be a living sacrifice. Every day, we have to have the mindset of Amashiach. What did Amashiach do when he went to the Mount of Olives? He says, let this cup pass from me. He didn't want to go through the 39 stripes and the crown of thorns and the spitting in the face and the mockings and the crucifixion or hanging on a tree, right? He didn't want to do. The flesh did not want to do that. He said, nevertheless, not my will. Let thy will be done. And so every day as we wake up in the morning, maybe I need to start praying that too. Almighty, not your will, not my will, but let thy will be done. But that's the mindset we need to have. I may not pray that, but that's how I live. So when you get upset and you want to, say something, cuss at someone, or do this, or listen to this, or watch this, it says, you know what? I want this money, but it's going to break the Sabbath. Not my will. I'll just work the job and make the money, but not my will. Let your will be done. Let your will be done. Because he sacrificed himself for us. We need to sacrifice ourselves in our bodies, which is a reasonable service. Every day we should say, not my will, let thy will be done. My flesh, I don't have a problem. My flesh really doesn't have a problem with drinking alcohol and getting drunk. You know, yeah, I want to DUI and kill people, but in your logic, it's like, well, if I get drunk at my house and I'm not killing nobody and I'm just not slapping, beating up on my kids and my wife, and I just like to get drunk, and or what's so wrong about me listening to this type of music? I'm not hurting no one by listening to this music or whatnot, or I'm not hurting no one by me watching these movies with nudity or cussing and all this stuff. I'm not hurting anyone. Your logic or your flesh wants to enjoy things that's pleasing to the flesh, whether an abundance of ice cream, or chasing women, or being intoxicated with alcohol or drugs, or listening to music. This flesh wants these things. But the difference is we say, not my will, let thy will be done. So we put this flesh into subjection and keep under our body, lest by any means when we preach to others, ourselves are made shall be a castaway. So it says every day, not my will, Almighty, let your will be done. People make me mad, and thoughts come. I don't entertain those thoughts. I rebuke those thoughts and say, hey, not my will, let your will be done, Almighty. And that's how we become a living sacrifice. But when you're lukewarm, you only have that limit. I'll only go so far. But he gave everything for us. He gave it all. And then when he gave it all, he still gave some. Because he went all the way to the hanging of the tree. And then after that, he gave us his spirit. He gave us his very best. This is why it says it's impossible to renew you unto repentance. Because there's nothing else but his spirit that could save you. He gave you his spirit. The very best thing he could possibly give a person to save them. And you took that spirit and went right back to sin. So he says it's impossible to renew you. There's nothing else I could give you. I gave you the very best. I can't renew you unto, what am I going to give you? Oh, give me the spirit again. What? I gave it to you and you went to sin the first time. Like, he gave you his best. There's nothing. I can't renew you unto repentance. I can't renew you unto salvation. You done. That's why it says you're done. So, he gave it all and gave some, and all he asks us is just to be a living sacrifice. But we don't want to sacrifice everything. Like Ananias and Sapphira, people were selling lands and houses and giving it to the apostles. Praise the Almighty for you people out there really contributing to caring and whatnot, contributing to Tribes United and whatnot. So, these people were selling lands and houses and giving it to the apostles, and distributing was to take care of the widows and take care of people that needed food or housing or whatnot. And we're taking care of the brothers and sisters, right? But Ananias and Sapphira kept back part of the money. They wanted to do it, but they didn't. They wanted to keep back part of the portion of the house. And yeah, we did it too. It says, why? You didn't lie unto me, you lied unto the Most High. And him and his wife died. Because they had a limit. Oh, I'll only go so far with the Most High. And that's so far. When you set that limit, here's the limit. You a sinner? Anything with the limit is just lukewarm. And then once you say, I'll give everything, that is when you're hot and when you'll make it into the kingdom. So anytime you set a limit on how far you'll go with the Most High, by default, you're lukewarm. You're lukewarm. Because you said, Almighty, I will serve you to this extent. Abraham said, I'll sacrifice my only son to you. These people says, hey, I will go in the fiery furnace before I deny you, Almighty. These people, Daniel said, I'll go in the lion's den before I stop praying to you. They're willing to give 100%. But when you're lukewarm, you're only giving 99.999%, 90%, 85%, 50%. And this is not enough. Because our forefathers, as well as our Savior, gave everything to save us. So why we think we could just give 50%? We're married. You're married to a husband, and he puts 100% into this marriage, but you just put 50%. How would you feel if you, as a wife, put 100% into this marriage, and he just puts 50%? How would that make you feel? And how do you think that makes the Almighty feel? Last scripture. Give me Joshua chapter 24. Praise the Almighty. Joshua chapter 24. We're going to start at verse 13. Verse 13. I have given you, this is Joshua talking to the people, I have given you the land for which you did not labor, and cities which you built not, and you dwell in them, and vineyards and olives which you planted not. Therefore fear the Almighty and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods of your fathers that served on the other side of the flood in Egypt, and serve the Most High. It says, quit being between two decisions where you're trying to serve the Almighty and you're serving idol gods. It says, hey, serve the Almighty all the way and put away. Don't be lukewarm. Serve the Almighty all the way, because they had the strange gods, but they were keeping the Sabbath. They had the strange gods. They were baptized under the cloud. They were keeping the laws while they were in the wilderness, but they still had these strange gods. They were in between two opinions. They were lukewarm. But let's keep going. And that's how you are when you still serve Satan by sinning, and then you trying to serve the Almighty, saying Shabbat Shalom. So, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Almighty, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods of your fathers served that were on the other side of the floods, the gods of the Amorites in the land that you dwell. But as far as me and my house, we will serve the Most High. It says choose. Like Elijah, why are you between two opinions? Either serve the Almighty or serve Balaam. Choose. Quit being lukewarm. Choose. Either you're going to be cold or you're going to be hot. Just choose one. If you don't want to serve the Most High, then go ahead, serve the God of the Amorites. You go ahead, serve your Christmas, serve your Halloween, serve your Thanksgiving. Go ahead and choose it. But you can't. Let's see if you could do both. Let's keep going. It says the Amorites, but as far as me and my house, we're going to serve the Almighty. A lot of people say as far as me and my house, we're going to serve the Almighty, and they be lying. They be lying because they put a limit on how far they'll go with the Most High. They love quoting this scripture, but they don't love living it. Let's keep going. Verse 16. And the people answer and say, God forbid that we forsake the Lord to serve other gods. This is, no, we're going to serve the Most High. This is what they said. No, God forbid. We're serving the Most High. Let's get it. For the Almighty, or Yah, is he that brought us up out of, and our fathers out of the land of Egypt, in the house of bondage, which you did great signs in our sight, and preserved us all the way wherefore we went, and among all the people through whom we are passed through, and drave out the people before us, even on the Amorites that dwell in the land. Therefore we will serve the Lord, for he is our Yah. This says, no, we're going to serve the Almighty. And some of these people say, no, Shabbat Shalom. They put all these posts on Facebook. Some of them put posts of them dressing nice. They have good apparel, right? And saying Shabbat Shalom, sisters of the Most High. But then they have all this makeup, eyelashes, fake nails, fake eyelashes, all this makeup caked on their face, all this jewelry, which the Almighty, but they will, that's their breaking limit. They won't go that far and put off that jewelry, like the Almighty says. They won't go that far and take off that makeup, take off those fake eyelashes and those fake nails. They won't do that. That's their limit, and they'll be lukewarm. But they'll put up their posts in a nice little dress, Hebrew-looking clothes, or African-style clothes, or a nice robe, or whatever. And they come looking real dressed, looking like they're real holy, and they're real sinning against the Most High, too. Let's keep going. And so, verse 18, and the Almighty drave out before us all the people, even the Amorites which dwell in the land. Therefore we will also, you says as far as me and my house, we will serve the Lord. But right here it says, we will also serve the Almighty, for he is our Yah. It says we'll also serve the Almighty too. Because Joshua said, for as far as me and my house, we're going to serve the Almighty. It says, for we will also serve the Almighty too. This is what Joshua said. And Joshua said unto the people, you cannot serve the Almighty, for he is a holy God and a jealous God, and he will not forgive your sins or your trespasses. He says you can't serve him. Not in that state, not being lukewarm. They came to Joshua and said, we will serve the Almighty also. It says you can't serve the Almighty. No, not in your condition. You lukewarm. Let's keep going. If you forsake the Almighty and serve strange gods, he will turn and do you hurt and consume you, after which he have done you good. And the people say unto Joshua, nay, but we will serve the Almighty. And Joshua said unto the people, you are witnesses that you have chosen to serve the Almighty and serve him. And they said, we are witnesses. Now therefore put away, said he, the strange gods which are among you. So they still had strange gods, but they said, we'll serve the Almighty. It says you're lukewarm. You can't serve the Almighty. He ain't going to forgive you for having those idol gods. No, we'll serve him. Then put away your strange gods. Then you can serve him. Be hot for the Most High. Quit being lukewarm and having idol gods and trying to serve the Almighty. And you, on Facebook and YouTube, quit being lukewarm and saying you're going to serve the Almighty and still living in sin. Still sinning against the Most High. Just like, this is what Joshua said. It says you cannot serve the Almighty, for he is a holy God. He is jealous. He will not forgive your trespasses nor your sins. You be lukewarm. He will not forgive your trespasses and sins. And that's why in Revelation it says, I spew you out of my mouth because you're lukewarm. I spew you out of my mouth. So you choose you this day who you will serve. Either Almighty, Yah, through his son Yeshua Mashiach, or choose serve sin. Why stand, like Elijah said, why stand between two opinions? It makes no sense to halfway serve the Almighty, because if I'm going to go to the lake of fire, I'm going to go chase me some women. I'm going to get me some gear with the money that I make, get all dressed up, give me a nice little shiny car payment. You know what I'm saying? A little flashy car. And I'm going to be chasing these hoes. And I'm going to get some alcohol, listen to whatever music I want, and listen to look at whatever movies I want. Get me a little, nice little decent apartment, deck it out, and be chasing hoes all day until I can't chase them no more. If I'm going to go to the lake of fire, why would I just keep the Sabbath? Why would I stop cussing? Why would I stop drinking? Why would I just do and still not make it? Why would I be lukewarm? It makes no sense to sacrifice so much to still not make it. I'm trying to get you to get to 100% sacrifice. You're at 80, 50, 20. You guys are lukewarm, and it makes no sense to sacrifice so many things. Like for you to not do Christmas or Halloween and not eat pork and keep the Sabbath and do these basic things and still not make it. Like you could have lived your whole life and just enjoyed it and went to the lake of fire. Just choose you who you're going to serve. But if you're going to serve the Almighty, be ye a living sacrifice, which is your reasonable service. Go all the way. Go all the way. Don't go partly, go all the way. So, with all that said and being done, we got the news, by the way. Oh, and I got the other shout outs. Keep standing and don't drop standards. Give the Almighty a hand clap for that part. And then I'll give the shout outs right now. Praise the Almighty. Shout outs. Let's get it. Shout outs. Keturah, Princess Yehuda, Angel, William Mormon, Antoniak, Nathan Wheat, Dominguez, Stacion Bradley, Johnny, Vince, Karen, Kamari, Ariel, Nava, Kasheth, Zahara. Praise the Almighty. Shout outs to them. So let's deal with some news. Thank you for giving Almighty a hand clap for your people out there. Oh, I could read this stuff. Just dropped me my second job. Ties, thanks for the reminder. I'd rather be broke than rob the Most High. Praise the Almighty. I appreciate that. Okay, so the news. Ukraine. All right, this is Bloods versus Crips. So this whole little Ukraine stuff, this is political. This is going to end up to a one world currency, and this is all tied into this. But let me just show you a little something about Ukraine. I'll just go ahead and screenshot. Cool. So I'm going to paraphrase it just a little bit. But Ukraine. In 2012, Ernest and Young, I guess this is a place that analyzes countries, put Ukraine amongst the 3 most corrupt nations in the world, alongside Colombia and Brazil. In 2015, The Guardian called Ukraine the most corrupt nation in Europe. According to the poll conducted in Ernst & Young in 2017, experts consider Ukraine to be the 9th most corrupt nation in the world. Ukraine is not an innocent bystander. They played the geopolitical game, and they're suffering from it. America could play this game because they could print money out of thin air, and they're allowed to invade Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya and do all this stuff and get painted as the good guys. So when Russia does it, they get painted as the bad guys. So Ukraine is not no clean country. U.S. and NATO, U.S. have been enlarging NATO. So back in the day, Poland and Germany and all of them was not in NATO. They've been enlarging NATO. And they set up missile installations and pointed them at Russia. And Russia kept saying it from 2014. Hey, I don't like what you're approaching on me. NATO, you're approaching on me. Oh, we're not doing it. So they've been trying to they put 30 labs, bioweapon labs into Ukraine. And they were trying to get Ukraine to put missile silos and whatnot into. I'm paraphrasing all this. You'll have to do your own research because I ain't going to read 1,000 papers. And so he drew a line. Russia drew a line in the sand and said, "Hey, if you put missiles in Ukraine, I'm gonna attack. If you put missiles in my backyard, I'm gonna attack." Oh, we're not gonna do it. So U.S. convinced Ukraine to do all this stuff and weapons and stuff in Ukraine. The U.S. got mad when Cuba, the whole Cuba situation, Russia was putting missile silos in Cuba and pointing them at the U.S., and U.S. was not having that. They didn't want missiles right by the U.S. and Cuba. They didn't want that to happen, but then they'll do it in Ukraine, and it's okay when Ukraine does it. So there was false promises that Ukraine would join NATO, Ukraine would join NATO. And so Ukraine stood up against Russia and was like, hey, check this out. This is what's going down, and it is what it is, and you don't like it, do what you got to do. And Russia did do what they got to do, and they doing what they got to do. And so now Zelensky, the person's like, hey, what's up? You say you have my back. And they're like, oh, here's a couple of anti-tank missiles. Yeah, you're not in NATO. And it's like, hey, I've been trying to join NATO for a couple of years. But it's like, yeah, but you're not in NATO today, so we ain't going to help you out. We'll give you some money or some Bitcoin and stuff, but we're going to just stand back. So pretty much, that's long story short. Do your research. That's what happened. UK got left out and dry by NATO nations and the US. And then the only reason why they did that, they were warned, make Ukraine a neutral country and make Ukraine a buffer between the East, between this part of Europe, and Ukraine will be the buffer. And so you have NATO, Ukraine, which is neutral, and them. Do not try to make them NATO. Do not try to put missiles. Do not try to do biolabs. They had 30 biological weapon labs in Ukraine, U.S. funded. Don't do that. And so Russia drew a line in the sand and said, hey, enough is enough. And then guess who's the bad guy? Russia. They don't tell about the wickedness that they're setting a big gang called NATO. They're setting this big gang against Russia. They won't push that agenda. It's probably going to get cut off. I don't know. We'll see what's up. So Ukraine, racist is, I don't know what. The people trying to leave on the train and trying to leave on bus out of the country because the bomb's going off. They were pushing black, I don't know if they're Africans or Hebrews, probably a little bit of both, Hebrews and Hamites or Africans, off of the bus and off of the train to escape. And so I was like, man, I don't even care. I told my boss, and he's like, oh, look into that. He was like, yeah, it was actually the government. I didn't know it was the government. I thought it was just normal people. The government put segregation, and the blacks could get on this bus, and the other nations could get in Ukraine. Let me guess, who do you think has priority getting out of the country then, if you already segregated them? Of course, the black people is going to be the last string, because it says it will be the lowest of all people. So I didn't even know the government established that, so I could care less. I hope all the racist Ukrainians come back and their house is bombed. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. If they take me off, they take me off. I'm broke anyways. I don't care about your cancel culture. So I could care less now. You know what I'm saying? Now I could really care less, because the fact that Ukraine, not only they're corrupt, is you go to Poland and you go to all these countries saying, I'm a refugee, help me. And they're setting up camps and setting up food and women and children. And you could come to Germany and you could come to Poland and millions of people, have mercy on me, have compassion on me. I'm a refugee through war. Oh, you niggers, you stay here. You stay in the bombed area. You stay here. And guess what happens after the war's over? All the people's going to come back to the land and still persecute the Hebrews there. They're going to come back to their own land, and you think they're going to get the same entitlement? Oh, now that we're back, move out the way, please. Nah, forget that. I could care less about Ukraine. I'm good. To tell you the truth, if it's center on center, the only reason why I'm even bringing up Ukraine is because how does that affect the saints of the Most High? If there's a Ukrainian person that's serving the Most High, then hey, that's a brother of the Most High. Hey, I can't knock it. You shall be blessed. All nations of the world should be blessed through Abraham. If there's a seed of Abraham by promise, not by blood, that's in Ukraine, serve the Almighty, keeping the Sabbath, not eating pork. Hey, you know, my prayer, I pray for all the saints of the Most High. So that goes out to you as well. You know what I'm saying? But any sinner, I could care less, because this is how wicked they are. Everyone's having mercy and compassion for Ukraine, and Ukraine's giving the black people the middle finger. So forget that. No, I'm good. I'm good. I don't have compassion for none of these sinners. Unless you're trying to serve the Most High, hey, it is what it is. It's Bloods versus Crips to me. One big gang versus another big gang. So let's go with Russia. Russia starting to sell sell oil, and they saying we could do it in gold, and we could do it with the ruble, and they're saying we're looking into Bitcoin. Now we understand that they put sanctions against them, and the main banking system, which is SWIFT, uses U.S. dollars. So Russia's like, forget the U.S. dollar. So now he's selling 50% of Europe's gold oil comes through Russia, right? So they couldn't sanction that, because if they really sanction that, they will collapse all of Europe. Germany, UK, Britain, 50% of their oil comes from Russia. So if they did that, I'm talking about buses, machinery, they will collapse. They're like, oh, well, we'll sanction you, but we'll still buy gold. We'll still buy oil from you. So now he's selling oil at a discounted rate, but it's by gold or ruble or by Bitcoin. So now it could potentially force the UK and the Europe to not use the U.S. dollar now. What does that do to us, the saints that's in the States, that you should be getting out of Babylon right now? That makes our money inflate or become devalued like Venezuela or Zimbabwe. This will happen. Will it completely collapse? I don't know, because this nation's wicked and they're drowning with their debt and keep printing. I think Biden's job was just to cripple the U.S. dollar, to collapse the U.S. economy, because he's doing a super good job with this infrastructure bill and with the stimulus, and California's putting in a gas stimulus. With this straight shipyard situation in LA and all these shutdowns and whatnot, he's doing a good job of collapsing the economy. So now Saudi Arabia is trying to do stuff with Russia without using the U.S. dollar. China's trying to use the yuan, or they're buying more oil from Russia without the U.S. dollar. So they're putting out these sanctions, which is really hurting them, because now more and more countries are going to get used to not using the U.S. dollar. So what happens when we'll put out sanctions and you can't use SWIFT and you can't use the U.S. dollar? Okay. So more and more countries, and then now more and more countries are going on to buy. I could buy oil at a discounted rate from Russia by just not using the U.S. dollar, by using gold or using something else or Bitcoin. Then who wants the U.S. dollar? After 6 months or a year, you think they're going to go back to SWIFT? So for the saints of the Most High, I'm going to tell you how that's going to play out and how that affects us, why you need to get your stuff together, get your passport, get your stuff together, because it's going to go down in the U.S. These sanctions is actually hurting us. It may be hurting Russia, but it's definitely going to be hurting us, because once they get off the U.S. dollar, which is opening the door to the one world currency, and going to go to CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, which I was talking about, because people's going to get tired of this U.S. dollar. And so what's the U.S. going to do? Oh, we have a CBDC. We have a digital currency now. This is what's going to save them from their $1 trillion of debt and their money being worthless. But I'll get into that later on. So, turn to the page. Next page. Next news. Praise the Almighty. Our dollar will collapse. You'll see the collapse of the U.S. dollar in our lifetime, probably within the next 2 or 3 years. I'm talking about, people are not using the U.S. dollar. So get ready for that. I'll deal with the inflation part of that, so I'm going to skip to the next part. Let's go to the housing market. The banks and hedge funds and these institutions are buying. In Atlanta, Georgia, 40% of all houses bought this year and last year were by institutions like hedge funds and banks that own 40 homes or more. They were outbuilding. So you see this Hebrew in Atlanta trying to buy this house for $300,000 because it's worth $300,000, and they get approved for the loan. So they already say, I'll put this down, and they get approved from their bank from the loan to buy this house. But they'll say, I'll pay $320,000, and maybe they'll hustle up and try to get $320,000, and they'll outbid the average person. So now they're paying $340,000 for the loan. They get outbid. So more Hebrew people aren't able to buy homes because they're competing against banks and not competing against other people. 70% of the evictions are by these same institutions. So they buy the house and they raise the rent and kick out the black people. Kind of like, what's the word for it? Gentrification and whatnot. But it also applies to everyone in the States, because it says you shall own nothing and be happy. It's going to get to the point where like 50 or 60% of the homes will be owned by commercial or by institution, hedge funds and banks. They're just going to rent out to everyone, and no one owns anything. No one has rights to anything. You don't own your home. You don't own your car. You don't own anything. So it's getting to that point. Some comments? All right, cool. It's happening in New York too. It's going to happen across the whole nation, the whole world. You shall own nothing and be happy. They're going to push this energy savings, and they're going to get it to the point to where they could confiscate land from people to where no one owns anything. And when you don't own anything, you have no power. You have no power. So let's keep going. Inflation. All right. Inflation, guys. Let's be wise. It's the Treasury said it's going to get worse. They're talking about rate hikes and doing all this stuff, but yet they keep printing out money, and they're thinking about doing other stimulus and stuff like that. Hey, they're going to lie to you, say it's 7%, but I know for a fact something that was $7, something that was $5, my Pollo Bowl went up to $6. So that is not a 7%. Something, the Dollar Tree that was $1 went up to $1.25. So that's 25%. Gas went up past, no, they say it's 7.9% inflation. No, it's more like 16 or 20. Gas went up past no 7.9%. So I don't know where they getting these statistics that average. The average cost of meat, the average cost of lumber went up like 4 times. So they're lying to you when they say 7.9%. It's more like 16 or 20%. And so 7.9% said that it hasn't happened since like 2008 or 2000 and whatnot. So 16%. So if you're not, this is the first thing I suggest you do. Find a better paying job to offset inflation. If inflation went up 20% and you get $20 an hour, find a job that pays $24 and that will equal what inflation is doing. Find a job that pays $24 an hour if you can. I'm just saying, find a job that pays 20% more than what you're making now, and hopefully that can offset inflation for you. Because I used to be like 60, 70 bucks to fill my tank. It's $100 to fill my tank. $110 to fill my tank a week. And back in the day, I used to go to any gym, or I'll just go to this gym in different environment and whatnot. If I did that, I'll be rocking $150 a week. I triangle work, go shower, go to the gym, go straight home. I don't be playing around. I don't be going extra. No, I do straight laundromat, haircut, barbershop, whatever. I just keep it short and simple. Not that I don't have the money, but I do not want to get to where I'm paying $150 a week. I got a V8 Vortec. I got a Chevy Tahoe. It's a heavy truck. I don't want to get to where I'm paying $150 a week just for gas. So I'm keeping it real tight. I make decent money, but I'm still keeping it tight. You know what I'm saying? So find a better paying job. Go find a better paying job. Don't just take this hit and just take a hit and now you're making less money. If you have $100 in the bank and inflation goes up and the cost of everything went up 20%, that $100 only gets you $80 worth of length. It only has $80 worth of power. So think about it. Let's get it. Cost of food will continue to rise. That's what they said. Congregations need to be buying preps. Hey, you congregations out there, if you're at a congregation that's not buying preps, then you're at probably the wrong congregation. With stuff popping off, I hope your congregation has food, has water, has supplies, is doing their stuff and on their game. I hope it's not, because if you're paying tithes and offering to a congregation, and when there's a tornado or when there's the whole Texas froze over and the power went out and all this stuff happens and it's every man for himself, then what in the world am I paying tithes to this congregation for if it's every man for themselves? That makes zero sense. We're the ministers. We're the leaders. I heard that people in some camp that wears purple, the leaders are actually got places at land outside of the country and telling the people, oh, stay in the States, but really they're going to bounce and leave the people in the land. But anyways, for you people out there, shop at Costco, Sam's Club. I'm not supporting that stuff. Shop at any place that you buy bulk. The secret that I got to buy preps is restaurant supply stores. They'll sell powdered cheese, flour, bread, and their stuff is cheaper than the Costco and stuff because they supply stuff to restaurants, and so restaurants buy in bulk. And so you'll notice that Costco price might be higher, and Costco doesn't have the good stuff that you can't get at the Costco, like powdered cheese, like big things of powdered potato flakes, 40 pounds of powdered potato flakes, mashed potatoes, stuff in super bulk. You go there, go to the restaurant supply store that's open to public, and you could get some good deals, and you could save $10 or $15. You can save 20% or get 20% more out of your groceries by just buying in bulk. And yeah, if you have an apartment, you may not have 50 pounds of potatoes, you know, I get it. do what you could do where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Fill up your tank for the week. Find the cheapest gas station and fill up the tank. Don't just, oh, I go to this gas station and I go to the gas station 3 times a week. I know money might be tight. There was a time I was so broke, I had to wait till people went through, like, oh, you could go ahead. And then once no one was in the store, hey, can I get 85 cents on pump number 2? Yeah, I've been there. I've been where you had to put change in your pump just to get you to the next paycheck. I know how it is to struggle. I thank the Almighty I'm not in that predicament. Praise the Almighty, He raised me up. I thank the Almighty, but I know how it is to struggle. So, hey, fill up your tank. Find the cheapest gas station, fill up your tank. Use coupons. Let's go back to coupons. I know grandma and whatnot used to do that. I know when you leave that grocery store, grab that pamphlet that has coupons and has sales and take it with you, because inflation is going to get worse. I'm telling you, it's going to get worse this year. They already said it, and if they said it, then it's going to get really worse. So just get used to the price of gas going up, price of food going up, price of everything going up. Just get used to it. And if you're not doing things to save money, then you're going to be hurting even more. It's going to cost you $50 more to get you to the next week. It went from $65 to fill my tank. Now it's $110 to fill my tank. So that's $40, $80, $120, $160. It cost me $160 more a month just to fill my tank. So that adds up. That's groceries right there. That's a phone bill. So think about it. You got to save money. Hey, play this game wisely. Don't be like the rest of the people. Hey, when your phone breaks, please don't get the most expensive phone. Just get you a little cheap $150, $200 phone. You don't have to have the best phone on the market. Like, I don't see why people want to flash so much. And you still live in the hood, but you have the cleanest phone. You still live in the hood, but you have 26-inch rims. You still live in the hood, but you have a shiny car. But you in the hood, so it means nothing. And you don't own your home. You own no business, no apartment, no assets. Like, why flash? Flash when you can flash. Flex when you can flex. Flex and really mean it. Don't flex and false flex. Let's keep going. Start looking for these sales. If they sales on meat, and next week, go to the sale and buy in bulk. Buy in bulk. Fill up your freezer with meat while it's on sale. Don't all just get enough to last me the week. Fill up your whole freezer of meat if it's super on sale. Hey, save that money. Saving $1 per pound, and you got 20 pounds, you save $20. Hey, we got you women out there. You need to be on your game. Take care of your husband and whatnot, or take care of your husband and your kids, and really be on that game. Be shopping, looking for discounts, looking for sales. Do what you got to do, because inflation is going to get tight for the saints of the Most High. You know, assuming most of the saints high are middle class or lower middle class, and it's going to be tight. You know what I'm saying? So, buy food's almost expired. When you go to the grocery store and they have that little shelf and they have like all the breads, you have like 3 days before it expires, then hey, buy it. I mean, it only takes 3 days to go through a loaf of bread, and yeah, in 3 days it's going to expire, but it's half the price. So what? You're going to use it up. If this is almost expired and it's some cream of wheat, hey, and you're going to use the cream of wheat in 3 days or 4 days anyways, and even if it's past the expiration date, there's no mold or whatnot, or it's still good, it's still canned food, so what? Just buy it. Don't have that dignity stuff. Hey, unless you doing good, then hey, you don't have to make the same sacrifice. I'm willing to make the sacrifice, and I'm doing pretty good. So it's like, hey, be wise with this stuff. Hopefully this helps you guys. I'm just shooting some ideas. If you have some ideas to save money, go ahead and put that out there. What else we got? I think there was some more news. Okay, cool. Last news. Remdesivir. That medicine I couldn't pronounce that's killing people is called Remdesivir. So look that up, and that's toxic. It's been killing people. Hopefully you guys get on BitChute, BitChute. BitChute is like a YouTube, but they put out some truth. They're not going to get canceled, like freedom of speech. If you want the news, go to BitChute. MasterCard carbon unit. Certain places is thinking about having a MasterCard Visa card that has a carbon unit. So say if you wanted to buy a pair of shoes, they predict this is how much carbon or energy it took to make these pair of shoes. So you use 10 carbon units today. And then you say your MasterCard is limited to 50 carbon units or 100 carbon units. And you bought this piece of car, or you maxed out how much carbon units you could buy. You can't make any more purchases today. They're trying to have a MasterCard Visa card that predicts how much energy it took to produce that item, and when you went past your energy, you could only use that much card for the day. Now, this is volunteer, and not all countries are doing it, but I'm letting you know this is where it's going to get. They're going to start controlling what you could do, what you could buy. They already control what you could say on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, especially on YouTube and Google. They're already controlling that stuff, so get ready for that. They're going to restrict your purchasing power. CBDCs, like I was telling you, this is opening the doorway. How are they going to save the U.S. economy? They're going to open up a digital currency and try to get rid of the debt. They're going to try to do a great reset, erase some of this debt, and then they're going to start out with digital currency. It could be programmed. They're going to make an account for everyone, even the unbanked. They're going to make a CBDC to where if your CBDC goes out past the range, then your card won't work or your chip won't work. They can make it to where they could tax it where you have this much a bank account and they just tax everyone 10%, and everyone in one day bank account just went down 10% and they just tax the people. They're going to make it to where if you save up money, then they charge you a higher interest rate because they don't want you to save up and get from lower class to middle class to middle class to upper class. So now they're going to penalize you at a higher rate or tax you at a higher rate because you want to save your money. And so could make CBDCs to where if you don't spend these digital currencies by a certain date, then you lose them to stimulate the economy. They're going to have total control of all your transactions. They know all your transactions. And if they say, hey, we're not going to allow people to buy from this site. Oh, you try to buy something? Oh, it doesn't work. Your card or your chip doesn't work. They can even refine it to everyone in California just can't buy things from different states and then ship it there or whatnot. They're going to have so much control, and they're going to use that. It's going to manipulate you. Hey, get your cash while you can. Hey, stay in cash. And this is why I say leave the country. Because there's some countries, Belize, that is like 15 years behind the technology. And then you have more time to get your stuff together. That's why I say get out of Babylon. It's going to get tight for you people. Let's keep going. Some scientists say that the new variants of coronavirus is simply because of vaccinations. Like they make probiotics, antibiotics illegal to buy in California, maybe not in some states, is because if you take antibiotics and you don't have a bacterial infection, what your body does is produce a tolerance to it. And so when you do get a bacterial infection and you take penicillin or amoxicillin, it will have no effect against it. So they make it illegal for you taking this because you're going to misdiagnose yourself. If you don't know it's a bacterial infection or, and you're going to misdiagnose and you'll take an antibiotic when you don't need it because it's a viral or it's or something else. And then now you build up this tolerance to it and it's not effective. So I see why they do make that illegal to get for that. But if you have an infected wound or you have a cavity in your tooth, you know that's a bacterial infection, and you know to take your amoxicillin and whatnot. So they say like the Delta and the Omicron and the Decepticon and the Megatron and whatever Transformer variant that be coming out is because they're giving these people vaccinations, 3 or 4 different type of shots. You're taking 3 doses or whatnot, and your body's getting the word for it, something dependent to where it's not even effective. It's not effective against these diseases anymore simply because you gave them this vaccination so much. So they're dependent on these vaccinations versus building up their own immunity. And the viruses that are coming against it, because you have these vaccinations, they're mutating and causing a Delta and a Decepticon variant. So they said some scientists believe this is what happened and why the variants are popping out on the scene. Quantum, last one, the juicy one. Quantum computer. Quantum computer. There's thousands of people. It's a supercomputer. If you look up D-Wave computer, it's where they make a computer, and what they said, they tap into the ether and the answers come to us, but really they didn't want to say we talk to demons. Now, back in the day, they used to use Ouija boards and to talk to people in the Ouija board, or they'll put 2 pencils together and it'll be yes, no, and then they'll ask a question. The pencil on the top that's balanced will turn on its own, and this is how they communicated with demons. And then they got more sophisticated, and ghost hunters will come with a special recording machine, and then it records at higher level frequencies or whatnot, or frequencies you can't hear, maybe a dog can hear or something. And so they'll be like, are you there? What's your name? What are you doing? You're doing good? What kind of clothes you wearing? And these ghost hunters or whatnot, pretty much they're just seeking spirits and whatnot. And then they'll come back and they could talk to, they'll record it, they'll listen to the recording, and the demons will talk to them. They'll be talking to them, and they can hear the voice audible, and they'd be talking back and forth to demons and whatnot. And what the Almighty says, and now they got quantum computers. Now they took technology, and then they took being a witch to the next form, and they got these supercomputers, which they're dealing with demons. You should look up the D-Wave computer. Also with AI, there's a type of AI which you could say that, okay, you're setting a computer that can learn from a mistake and whatnot, maybe like some of the remote control cars that kind of semi AI. But there's AI to where all you did is just have a demon talk to you and you call it AI. Remember, these are ancient beings. They are way wiser than us. So when they say a quantum computer, you just attach the computer to a demon, and there is one where they took the strongest computer in the world and they put it with the D-Wave computer, and they asked it a sophisticated question, and it took our strongest computer 30 minutes, and then the quantum computer answered it in like 5 or something. There was a documentary on this where they said the answers just come to us, and they keep it real frozen, and they're talking with demons. So get ready for that. Get ready for AI. Essentially, I feel like some of this AI is just demons in robotic form, or potentially can, because you have this AI robot or whatnot, and it's AI, and really a demon is just controlling it. Well, that's my theory. I don't know. There's thousands of people working on quantum computers, so this is where the world's getting. They're getting to where they could put a chip in you, and they're working for quantum computing. So get ready for it. It may not be the buy and sell, might be the right hand, and then it may be on your forehead some quantum computing chip or something. Who knows how this is going? And CERN, I haven't heard nothing about CERN, but remember when CERN first came out and they did this, they hit molecules and tap into a different dimension. I know they're real hush-hush about that, so if any of you guys have any information about CERN and what they're doing, I know they had this parade where they had these false angels and these horned beasts. It was all a satanic parade they had celebrating CERN, starting their little circle thing to collide atoms together to make the God particle or whatnot. So I haven't heard none of them, but they're probably doing some wicked stuff because they're real on the hush-hush lately. So hopefully that helps you out. The Saints of the Most High, get your stuff together. Get your stuff together. Hey, let's get it together. I think that's it. With all that said being done, keep standing. Don't drop standards. Give the Almighty a hand clap. Shalom.